Spongebob commercials. You don't think about him too often because they're old and don't seem to be interesting at all, but this is a series with a surprisingly cool history of promotions. Because SpongeBob was met to such critical acclaim and became recognized as one of the most iconic cartoon characters out there, some commercials and products seem to make absolutely no sense, and today we'll be diving into this bizarre world of advertising. But first, a brief message from our sponsor.
Target, the new home of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay, that was cool. It's a SpongeBob Target crossover commercial, so step aside Infinity War because you've officially been bested. Releasing in 2001, it was originally animated to promote everyone's favorite talking sponge in the setting of this superstore. A deal was signed and a commercial like this would benefit both sides. SpongeBob fans would be really happy while more people would end up going to Target. But what's awesome about this promo in particular is how it's originally animated. No footage from an episode was used, but instead we see SpongeBob stare into a mirror, rip his pants by accident like this is straight out of season 1's classic episode, and then there's a bunch of nice stuff with spatulas and Krabby Patties, and this is great! The aesthetic appeal is also something to note, especially because modern SpongeBob style has gotten pretty expressive, and while it's not bad, sometimes the older style gave off really nice vibes. This commercial just feels straight out of the golden era of the show, and you already know it came out of 2001 because of this tiny portion of text, AOL keyword Target. Okay, yeah, nobody uses AOL anymore. Except maybe me sometimes because I use it for lots of spam, but that's not the point. Target's partnership with this series is something that many people don't seem to remember, and the actual footage of the commercial is relatively rare, so there's quite a decent amount of modern viewers that don't even know this exists. But 2001 wasn't just the year of this massive store teaming up with Spongebob. There was actually another deal signed at the same time, and it was none other than Burger King.
And their selection consists solely of these burgers, of which they are presumably king.
Mini toys coming along with fast food kids meals is recognizable by basically anyone ever, so it's no surprise that of course SpongeBob and friends would make the transformation into plastic fun. There's nothing extremely noteworthy about this commercial though, since it plays out like so many other kids meal promos. However, it's weird to know that 2001 is like the big starting year for SpongeBob advertising. I mean, yeah, there were a few small promotions here and there throughout 2000, but Burger King and Target are both the big guys, and teaming up with them was when you knew that the show had become huge. In 1999 and 2000, companies likely weren't too confident in the series or didn't even know it existed because of its first release, but as time went on, it began to score higher ratings and kids were showing their love for Bikini Bottom as well as the residents inside of it. During the next year of 2002, we got this incredible piece of media.
SpongeBob if you want to, you can wear him all the time. If you get the chance, you can wear square pants, even on your behind.
I wear square pants.
SpongeBob, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants.
Are you squaring up? SpongeBob stuff in stores now.
Okay, how did I not know this existed until now? All these little kids joining together to sing about their favorite cartoon character while wearing his merch and parodying the safety dance? This commercial just screams early 2000s, hi, I'm early 2000s, welcome to the early 2000s, because it barely holds up today with the classic feel and style. That's not a bad thing though, because just like the aesthetic of that one Target animation, this was honestly just fun to watch. At the very end, these kids are dancing and just having a great time, which which under normal circumstances would be kinda cringy, but then again, we currently live in the era where everyone just constantly takes moves from Fortnite, so yeah, this is completely fine. If I actually watched this commercial as a kid, you bet your bottom dollar it would convince me to buy some SpongeBob merch, because how can you go against the safety dance? Don't even pretend you wouldn't be running to your parents begging to buy merch after viewing this golden promo that shall never be forgotten now that I've revived it. Creating a jingle just to advertise merchandise wasn't just a strategy for one commercial though, because around Christmas in 2003, we got a really nice version of Jingle Bells, but with a yellow enthusiastic twist.
Trim the tree, Mom says it's okay. SpongeBob rules, Grandma grooves, Rufus ran away. Hey, Sally slips, Chrissy peeks, Bobby saves the day. Grandpa Graham, he's a fan of SpongeBob Holiday. Sam and Jen, they're two fans of SpongeBob Holiday. SpongeBob, changing lives everywhere. New products in stores now or at theshop@nick.com.
Most of the footage here is alright, especially this very cute dog attracted by the music, but one moment in particular caught me off guard. Nickelodeon presents to you a naked old lady taking a shower. Wait, what?
Naked Grandma! Naked, huh?
Of course, the actual moment of the song goes by so fast that you don't really pay attention to it unless you pause, but for real, why was this included? The lyric here is Grandma Grooves, which makes sense because she's dancing in the shower, but we also probably could have gone through life completely fine without seeing an almost naked grandma to go along with that line. She could have been just about anywhere else, or if you really wanted to promote the shower thing, then I don't know, have a dog taking a bath instead, cause that would be amazing. As for the rest of the commercial, none of the original animated segments appeared here, but you know, this was still good fun to be had because of the jingle sponges. Continuing our bizarre journey into 2004, and it's the highly anticipated SpongeBob movie which arrived in theaters. Guys, you already know how many promos and commercials were released during this time period, but instead of going over those predictable ones, let's take a look at the common trend that began: SpongeBob's partnership with various foods. Why? Because he's part of a really popular franchise, why not? These commercials began featuring some pretty odd combinations, with some examples of them being Eggo waffles, fruit snacks, and cereal. Out of those three, I'd say the most creative commercial is the one about cereal, because let's be real, anything with a dog featured in it is A-okay. This one in particular is a mix of live action and brief original animation, so that's cool to see. And yo, I remember these SpongeBob Cheez-Its, they were awesome, and now I'm actually tempted to find them again. Anyway, the fruit snacks ad was just a reenactment of Hooky, while the Eggo ad involves this weird SpongeBob waffle guy about to cross the border between reality and cartoon. But no, you can't do that, that's impossible, waffle guy, why would you even try? Throughout the next few years is when things began to change. After the first movie premiered in theaters, SpongeBob continued even though Steven Hillenburg intended for the series to be over. Nickelodeon knew that they had a success on their hands though, and we got tons more episodes than expected. It's common knowledge that the show began to gradually get worse, but could that also be said about the commercials too? 2005 gave us this interesting UK advertisement about SpongeBob absorbing all the water in his bathtub in a volcano, then he lets it all out to become Volvic Splash. Yeah, that's right. If you've ever been in the UK and you've taken a little sip of this liquid, congratulations! You're officially drinking water that went through all of SpongeBob's insides. But despite the series heading in a completely different direction than the first 3 seasons, it looked like the commercials were following the general path that had been set during the golden era. For example, in 2006 there was one all about SpongeBob mac and cheese, which a lot of you probably remember.
Introducing Kraft SpongeBob SquarePants Super Mac and Cheese. T-Rex is diving down below me, because beneath the ocean only lies a cheesy pepperoni. New Kraft SpongeBob Super Mac and Cheese with SpongeBob, Squidward, Gary, and Patrick. Ready, SpongeBob?
I'm ready! I'm ready! I'm ready!
for
ready! I'm ready!
It's new Kraft SpongeBob
Super Mac and Cheese!
When you jump, you use nearly every muscle in your body. So what are you waiting for?
A weird team up that relates to food? Check. Some nice original animation for the promo? Check-a-rooney. An orange dino ready to have some fun? Checkmate. Wait, what? I was never a mac and cheese kind of guy, but I saw this everywhere back when it was first being released, so this is kinda nostalgic. Also, fun fact, the reason he's wearing this strange blue glove is to also promote the Yellow Avenger, which was a SpongeBob video game that came out in late 2005 on the DS, but then 2006 on the PSP. However, this would only be temporary box art because there's no way that modern mac and cheese will promote a 10-plus-year-old game. 2007 and 2008 continued the whole thing of teaming up with various fast food places for toys, which is expected because every few years there will be a new selection for the same franchise. However, this time period also resulted in less and less original animation produced for the promos. Instead, there would just be footage from the show with voiceover, and that's usually not as interesting or creative. I think one of the turning points in SpongeBob commercial history where you just think, okay, maybe the golden promotional days for the series are officially over, is this.
I like square butts and I cannot lie. Squid and sea star can't deny. When a sponge walks in, four corners in his pants like he got phone book implants, the crowd shouts. All the ladies stare. Dang, those pants are square. Swinging through the seaweed tangles is a butt with sharp right angles. Now, SpongeBob, I wanna get with ya, cause you're making me rich, ya. Burger King wants me to seal the deal. 99-cent, get a toy and a kid's meal. Booty is booty. Buy an adult value meal and get a BK Kids meal with a SpongeBob toy for 99 cents.
So, that was a thing. This came out in 2009 and promoted the show through a parody of Baby Got Back, which isn't really a song for the show's target audience. Burger King did have some nice SpongeBob commercials in the past, but then it just evolved into this trash, and why did you have to do this, BK? I thought you were good. I can't imagine how awkward it was for all these actors to put those square things there. Just filming the commercial feels like a terrible experience. They had to spend hours putting this all together, while we only had to give 30 seconds of our time, and yet those are 30 seconds I wish I hadn't given to this monstrosity. A lot of the promos over the next few years seem like they blend together, with a few small exceptions of creativity. For example, in 2011 we have a Japanese commercial about SpongeBob Happy Meals and little kids screaming. This is my favorite anime. As time went on, there were just less bizarre team-ups and promotions, not a whole lot to mention honestly. I don't want to be that guy who just says that the old stuff was better and then be biased by nostalgia, but the old stuff was better. Original animations, a classic aesthetic appeal, and just more interesting products were being promoted back in the first 10 years of SpongeBob even existing. However, not all hope is lost. Just because something is modern doesn't make it automatically bad, because in 2017, there was a nice little commercial for Nationwide that involved SpongeBob and Patrick on bikes.
Patrick? Meow. You need a helmet that fits properly. And make sure your bike is the right size. Your feet should touch the ground while sitting. Patrick?
Mine's too big.
Despite being really short, this was originally animated in the show's modern style, telling its own 20-second story to promote bike safety. It may not be anything big, but SpongeBob's Nationwide PSA is at least a small glimmer of hope in a boatload of trash. While there's terrible stuff like Nick's meme commercials featuring the franchise, at least something like this still manages to exist, and maybe there could be more promos like it in the future. Overall, SpongeBob's journey through commercials started out pretty strong with some classic stuff as well as some strange team-ups you wouldn't initially expect, but gradually over time it just turned into something not even worth mentioning. Around 2008 to 2010 is where SpongeBob commercials just became a bore to watch, though every once in a while there will be a creative one that comes out of nowhere. I haven't gone over every single promotion this show has done though, because that would be way too long, but from what I did talk about, which one is your favorite? Tell me your thoughts down in the comments section. But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos. Give a thumbs up and comment below, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.